environment. And to set it up, this is what we have back in Reston. The Starlink SATCOM terminal is on our building, so we didn't bring it here. But we'll show you live what's going on. Last setup slide. So what you'll see in a minute is we have two different, picture this notional scenario, right? Maybe this is more real than notional for y'all. We're kind of rolling out these contingent airfields out in the West Pacific, for example. You have on different islands, want to rapidly deploy, have some comms, have some capabilities. As as Vegas described earlier, you may have a bunch of sensors, you want to do some ISR, survey the area, make sure you have perimeter defense, things like that. So we'll have one appliance and a set of airmen here flying out these micro drones to kind of use computer vision to help them survey the area, find things that they may not be looking for, and help them be more effective. We also have some local sensors here at the airfield itself to monitor the fuel supply and other supplies that we have. We're simulating fuel sensors in this case, and they're all being processed and managed right here on this device. So even if we had no transport up, we could have local airmen interact with this and just view what's going on, get alerts, things like that. And then now we have 3 transports available to us: SATCOM, man-A radio, and cellular. Juniper fits in here, so the SVR you can see is the protocol we're using the smart session routing. And then at the C2 element at a different location or a peer node, they can be observing what's happening remotely. And they're also managing their own sensors. And then the last thing is, we've also incorporated the HoloLens 2, which is an augmented reality goggle. And it gives a way of thinking about how the future might look with augmented reality to help you with the heads-up display, hands-free situational awareness type package. So with that, I'm going to switch over. So we'll go to John. Remember John? So what you'll see, so John is the one who's actually flying this drone. He's gone out and captured the footage. We're running an object detection model on that device. He's reviewing the footage, potentially, or he's going to have some other element working with him. And you can see in real time, some alerts can be built off of this. We're seeing trucks, cars, people. This is just a generic model. Imagine tuning it for what object you're looking for or some kind of threat that you're looking for. The other thing he's also running there is that a fuel sensor app that we've created. We have a map server here. You can kind of move around. We've depicted the sensors by this little barrel. You'll see flip colors because we have it on a loop to kind of change and give you some sense of what's going on. But if he clicks into that barrel, you get a sense of like what's the fuel levels been, how they've been doing over a period of time. Do you need to refuel? Do you have a resupply that you need to coordinate? Or critical levels, things like that. So just a simple way to show other sensor data that's coming in. So that data is being stored on this device, and when it sees the remote node, it will send over that data and hydrate over the wire. And if you look over here, we have 3 different transports we have called out. It's a little bit hard to see from the back of the room, but we have those 3 that I mentioned. We have SATCOM, we have man-A, and we have the cellular. Those are all being managed by Juniper Session Smart Routing. And then we'll move over to the command element here, command control element. So as soon as this comes up on the screen, there's a couple things you'll notice. One is we're going to replicate what Sun here is doing. He's got the HoloLens device on. What he sees is not only the real world, but he also sees the augmentation that we're overlaying. So on the bottom screen, you'll see what Sun is looking at. We'll try to keep people out of the frame. And at the top, this is Juniper's conductor software. So this lets us look at what's happening on the network itself. So there's 2 graphs to note for the different sensors or sessions. So this is the fuel sensor. There's 2 of them. There's a medium and low priority sensor. And then in the middle, it's the video stream. And on the right, which is where we're going to spend most of our time, that's the transport we're using. So right now it's orange, which is the Starlink SATCOM. We're going to flip over to man-A and then LTE, so green and then blue. So we're physically going to start disconnecting, and you'll see what's happening. But if you look at Sun's screen real quick, to give you a sense of what's happening on the command side, that same fuel sensor application we developed once and deployed it to both devices. Same application, except this one has more context. If you look, there's way more sensors here because it's looking at a much larger airfield or airbase. There's a bunch more sensors, and it also has the remote sensors that you can see at the bottom. But those are coming over the wire from that other device. And if we pivot, Sun's also watching that same ISR video stream. So we prioritize that as high priority because we're looking for something. There's a threat in the region. So if you observe what Sun's doing here, keep your eye on the video. It'll be continuous as we start dropping transports. And this is the beauty of the SVR and SSR from Juniper. It's a seamless failover. There's no session drop. So John, if you don't mind pulling out the Starlink deny that communications mechanism. What you'll see in a second is the transport all the way on the right, it'll drop off from Starlink and switch over to MAN-A. So the way we've set up the rules, and you can kind of be smart about it and let the system do it, we cascade the traffic by priority. So as you saw before, video is highest priority, fuel sensors are medium and low. So as we start losing bandwidth, losing capabilities, we start dropping off the lower sensors and holding them back, and then making sure that we assure that the video ISR feed is coming across. So we switched over to MAN-A now. You see the low priority fuel sensors is held back and dropped off. And then if you don't mind pulling out the MAN-A, or turn off the radios, however you want to do it. Imagine you suffered catastrophic MAN-A failure. You'll see it in a second, switch over to that. And watch the video, nothing's changed, it continues on. At most you may lose a frame, but it's just continuous. So we've provided somewhat assured communications, multiple transports. This goes back to some integrated warfighter network type technologies and thoughts that you guys are talking about. Can you switch over?
MAN-A was always denied.
Okay.
So we failed over LT.
Okay. So let's bring back in the MAN-A. You can see it on the way back up. And same thing here. As you start bringing back in different comms or you switch them around, it'll just resiliently fall over or fail back and forth between different transports. Cool. So kind of just short and sweet demo, just kind of wrapping it up. We hope that this kind of gave you a sense of vignettes of how you might use some of this technology